Welcome to Double Drivel, an NBA podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Double Drivel. We are a weekly podcast offering a fan's perspective on the news and issues surrounding the NBA. Thank you for joining us. My name is Greg, and I'm joined as always by my co-host JT. You can find us on Twitter at Double Dribblers or email us at doubledrivelpodcast@gmail.com. JT, what up, my friend?
Well, Greg, we had to do a very special episode, but to tell the story properly, I'm going to have to ask you to cue the Siege music.
And while you're doing that, and while I'm doing that, I will just say that this was one of the more fun weeks in the NBA. I know we're going to get to that over the course of the episode, but very, very exciting. And if we're queuing up Siege music, this is a place I want to be. So with no further ado, your Siege music.
It's a story, Greg, that we're going to call A Tale of Two Cities. A story of betrayal, deception, revenge, and also torn tights, secret passageways, and much, much more. The story begins in the city of Angels, Greg, Los Angeles. LA Clippers took on the Houston Rockets last night. Did you see the game?
I did not see the game. I did see, obviously, the clips at this point, but no, I did not see the game live. I wish I had.
This is why the NBA is incredible. I mean, where do you even begin with such an incredible story? I think it starts as a story of two former teammates, Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, the old Lob City partners. Rumors were they never got along. Would they play nice? Would they not play nice? The bookies had the Clippers as the underdog, but with the look in their eyes, Greg, you could tell they were ready to play. It's a very physical game. Physical to the point where Blake Griffin was nearly elbowing Coach Mike D'Antoni while running past him. The coach. Unprecedented levels of shade being thrown around. Blake and Trevor Ariza rejected with just a few minutes left in the game. Game ends. Clippers win. Shit gets wild. Now at this point guard himself, Chris Paul, rallies a small tactical team of marauders to seemingly overthrow the Clippers locker room, Greg, by way of a secret tunnel.
A secret tunnel, you say?
Secret tunnel. Team was made of Chris Paul, James Harden, who didn't even play in the game, Trevor Ariza, using the secret tunnel to storm the castle, if you will. But they sent a decoy, Greg. A decoy in the shape of 6'10" Swiss giant center Clint Capella, knocking on the front door of the locker room. Front door. Decoy.
A diversion.
Diversion. At this point, the team of Marauders had secured access to the Clippers locker room, and that's when chaos just ensued. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, champion of Microsoft developers.
Developers.
He was nearby in the hallway, and he quickly brought security as well as LAPD into the locker room to secure some sense of peace. After all the dust had settled, we had teams separated, and, well, that ended that chapter of The Tale of Two Cities.
I'm sorry, I was going to say something. Your story crescendoed with the music, and it was just perfect. That is the best telling I've heard so far of the event from last night, and it was crazy. I There was also the video of Shaq and Charles Barkley enjoying the event because they were like just shocked that somebody called the police. That it got to like a police kind of event. Like, what are we doing here? It's a goddamn basketball game, and some guys came in the locker room. Really, it got to police. This wasn't like some sort of crazy moment. They didn't even have like a brawl on the court or anything. Like, so I don't know. It just feels like it got out of hand. But it didn't get that out of hand. So that's the strange part.
Not that we saw, but who knows what that locker room was like.
That's true, but there's a lot of cameras in there. I mean, there's built-in cameras. That if there's good video, that's coming out. There's no doubt. TMZ is in that city. There's no way in hell that tape doesn't come out if it's really good or something crazy did happen in the locker room.
I don't know. You never see locker room footage get released though, at least in the NBA.
When has anything like that ever happened?
Shit's got to be going off in there sometimes. There's got to be some good locker room footage that someone's sitting on, though. Maybe not.
What about the video? Did video ever come out of what's his name with the gun, Gilbert Arenas?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Wow, that was some real shit in a locker room. That's the last time I remember something crazy, and I immediately thought of that last night.
Why don't you tell? What are we talking about here?
Gilbert Arenas, back when he was on the Wizards and one of the best players in the league, guys gamble in the locker room, guys talk a little shit, things go down. Apparently, Gilbert Arenas liked to carry a pistol with him. And one night during some sort of altercation in the locker room about one thing or another, he might have brandished this weapon, and it might be the reason that he's not in the NBA anymore. And he's just some loudmouth guy on Twitter now that goes to carnivals and wins the basketball games. But, yeah, Gilbert Arenas, menace to society.
Yeah, I don't think that we ever saw any video of that.
So I wasn't under the impression there was that much bad blood with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. But I guess I was wrong. Chris Paul, not a fan of Mr. Griffin.
No. And they don't look like they miss each other. It looked like they had a lot of pent up emotion. They were totally ready to like get it out on one another. The stuff with the coach though, Greg, Blake Griffin like nearly elbowing the coach of the Rockets, and then the coach Mike was pissed, and he was like, you could almost lip read Blake saying, "Well, you were in my way." He's like, "I was in your fucking way." A lot of emotion in that game. It was something. That was crazy.
I woke up to those videos this morning, and that was one of the first that I clicked on that said D'Antoni F-bombs. And I'm like, if Mike D'Antoni's throwing F-bombs, that game was awesome last night. So it was. On.
There is an energy in this league right now. There were Kyle Lowry and Ben Simmons. They were kind of like getting into it pretty good. And you saw them both kind of like point to the tunnel, be like, "All right, I'm going. Like, you better meet me there." And just before we started recording this show, I think it was a guy in the Magic. I don't have his name in front of me right now. He threw a fucking straight up like lunging right hook at this guy just now. So these guys, I don't know, they're something's up.
Shit's getting out of control in the NBA. Lack of order.
The only thing you can really do is stay tuned to this show to like keep your finger on the pulse. Otherwise, you'll just be overwhelmed with so much action.
Yeah, I just feel like we've been nothing but fight updates lately, but that's been.
I know we haven't talked a fucking thing about stats, maybe ever on this. Like we're just pretty much like a fight companion, and it's so great.
And we didn't even talk about Ariza. I mean, Ariza was all up in that shit too. He was looking for a fight with Blake. Blake was attracting a lot of attention last night. Not a fan of the Rockets, and the Rockets are not a fan of him. But I couldn't believe
ripped his tights, Greg.
That's some bullshit. You don't stand for ripped tights.
You run around, you can see his underpants.
That's the kind of disrespect that gets you in a tunnel. And I don't think it's okay for Chris Paul to use his knowledge of the tunnel that they had just because he lived there for so long against the
Against, like,
Staples Center.
Like the rules of war. Like that's not allowed.
No, for real. Like somewhere in the Geneva Convention, it definitely says you can't use like tunnels and shit that you know where they are because you lived there and it was your shit. You can't do that. You moved out. You got no business going to those tunnels. Those aren't your tunnels.
At what point do you think Chris Paul formulated this plan? Because I'm thinking this is like something he's had in the back of his head for a while.
You think?
Like
you don't think
yes.
Shit got out of control? The motherfuckers went to the back and they're like, all right, that's it. We should roll up in there. Motherfuckers like, you can't roll up in there. Like, nah, we'll send the big dude. We're going to send Clint's ass to the front door. And they're going to be like, what is this big ass motherfucker staring at us? What is he doing? And then they're going to go around and they're going to go through the tunnel in the back. And they're going to surprise him. And once they surprise him, that's the big question. What was the plan after that? They were going to surprise them and what? Were they just going to talk some shit? Like, that's like, what was the plan going in? That's where it always goes wrong. Yeah. Boom, bitch. Yeah, I remember where this tunnel is. It's still here because it's still the Staples Center.
Oh, yeah. My God. What a great, this probably my favorite story of the year so far.
Yeah, this came out of nowhere, too, because there were some great fights last week. I didn't think it was going to get better than that. I was telling people, like, you've been watching the NBA? A lot of fights, right? And everybody's like, yeah, shit's crazy, right? And then to wake up to this morning, this was beyond my expectations.
Well, my friends, those listening, we have responded and heard to what you seem to like. And if you like last week's episode and you like the Bobby One Punch Portis episode, it seems y'all like fighting. So
yeah, there seems to be a pattern with our popularity of certain episodes where there's the theme of fights.
If you continue to show you have an insatiable desire for NBA Fight Companion show, we will continue to shape this show to be just the perfect thing for that.
Yeah, as long as they keep fighting, I'll keep talking about it.
Ooh, yeah. All right. Well, Greg, that was pretty great.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. I love the music, and that was a great idea with the music. So I don't want to sit here and slurp on you, but that was a good job. Good job there, JT.
Thank you. And just for the record, that was one of the 20 texts you did not respond to me today with.
No, not a big day for text responses, so my apologies. All right. Well, we're going to be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at Double Dribblers, and you can email us at doubledribblepodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Podbean, or Google Play. And until next week, we'll see you on the internet.